Now, the Fallout games as a whole have always been known as games that you can do whatever in. You could be everyone's favorite child and work to save the world, or you could literally be a nightmare to society. Today we will be testing out the latter option, as today we aim to find out, can you beat Fallout 3 while making every bad decision? Fallout 3 is actually unique among the Fallout games, as every decision you make nets you karma, whether it be good or bad. Based on the amount of karma you have stored up, the game will change to reflect this. There will be new dialogue options, new encounters, and even new story options. Today I aim to see just how far we can push this by making every evil decision possible. Anyways, that's enough yapping for now, let's get straight into the run. Starting off, we're born and then promptly introduced to the world of Fallout through the comforting words of Liam Neeson. We then name our character Mean Bean, because they are a bean and they are mean. I choose female this time as it gives me access to the Black Widow perk, which aside from giving me some extra damage against some major encounters, also gives me special dialogue which I will be using and abusing to get way too many caps for this early in the game. Starting out in the vault, we show just how mean of a bean we really are by beating up Liam Neeson with a bouncy ball. I then try to escape the vault early, but am unfortunately stopped by door technology. I am then instead flashbanged and then sent multiple years into the future. At the birthday party, I continue to be a menace to society by harassing everyone until they give me presents, and then bullying Butch until he outright attacks me. I then run downstairs while nobody's looking, beat up Jonas because he's a nerd, murder Liam Neeson, and then make another daring escape. Sadly, my arch nemesis comes back to haunt me as I am once again stopped through the power of doors. The rest of the childhood years pan out as normal, except for the fact that I join in on the bullying of Amada by calling her fat. For tag skills, I ended up taking explosives so I can milk Mr. Burke for all the caps and XP he's worth, small guns because I like shooting things, and speech so I could have access to special dialogue. Things then escalate alarmingly quickly, as in the span of one white flash, everything has gone to crap. While escaping the vault, I made sure to talk to Officer Gomez so he knew that I knew that he knew that I wasn't evil. I then proved his theory wrong by immediately murdering him. Now you may think I would spare the Overseer, seeing as he too is a mean bean. However, he is a mean garbanzo bean and I am a mean pinto bean. I simply cannot stand for this, so I put a couple bullets in his head, after of course threatening Amada. More bad karma is never a bad thing in my book. I am then thrusted straight into the great green wasteland of Fallout 3. Wasting no time, I run straight to Megaton, talk to Mr. Burke, and rig the bomb to explode. Believe it or not, I'm not going to be detonating it right away and instead start to work with Moist Brown. Wasteland Survival Guide may seem like a strange choice for an evil playthrough, but while doing the quest you actually get a few options to straight up lie about various things of the wasteland, as well as cheating Moira out of a few supplies. I didn't get to finish the quest yet though, as some of the later parts needed me to go somewhere a bit further, so for now we'll be putting that on hold. Something I didn't put on hold, however, was exploring the Super Duper Mart. Weirdly enough, this is where we got our first random encounter involving bad karma, which was a run-in with the Regulators. The Regulators are people in ugly coats, which just offends me. They get promptly put in the dirt, and then I do the same to a few folks at Megaton. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not entirely sure why I did this. I guess I was just feeling trigger happy. That, or maybe I really just wanted Nova's fashion. Who can say? The people of Megaton are obviously going to be feeling a bit grumpy for the next 3 days, so I decided to change course a bit and make my way over to Greyditch. Again, may seem a bit odd, but this will be important later. You know, there's a reason I never do the those quest, and I just can't remember. My eyes! My eyes! Oh yeah, that's it. After offing Dr. Lesko because I have a vendetta against nerds, I told Brian Wilkes to wait for me as I'd have a new helm prepped and ready for him in the future. It was at this point I finished up Wasteland Survival Guide, as I remembered you actually can get a perk from finishing it. I couldn't remember exactly what the perk did, I just remembered that there was a perk. Oh well, Wasteland Survival Guide is a pretty long quest and it's pretty difficult, so I'm sure the reward will be 2%. 2% poison res. Well, I know what I'm gonna be doing today. With Megaton now a hole in a more literal sense of the word, I made my way over to Paradise Falls. You knew it was coming, I knew it was coming, it's time to start slaving. I don't think that's a word. I'm working with the slavers is what I'm saying. If you're doing any evil playthrough of Fallout 3, this is definitely one of your most important stops. The slavers obviously give you some of the most evil options in the game, so as far as I'm concerned, they're my best friends for the rest of the playthrough. I start by kidnapping various people for them. Most of them are fairly easy, just some folks hiding out in various ruins, and a couple oddballs who are hanging out in a town like Tenpenny Tower or Rivet City. I had a really weird interaction in Tenpenny Tower when I blasted Miss Lancaster and she became confused. However, after I put the collar on her, she became hostile and then ran away from me. She wasn't the only one who became hostile, however, as Mr. Burke also became aggressive. Only Mr. Burke, and I have no idea why. It's okay, he'll forget about this in like 3 days, as everyone in Fallout 3 seems to have very, very bad short-term memory. After finishing some of the busy work for the slavers in Paradise Falls, I made sure to sell Brian to them. You know, the kid from Great Edge. There is no reason to do this aside from just being evil, but hey, 100 caps is 100 caps. After this, the only other person I had on the strictly business quest was actually Flack from Rivet City, so it's finally time to go to everybody's favorite part of Fallout 3, the Metro Tunnels. God, I hate this place. Now, those of you who are more astute would probably notice that the Metro Tunnels are in fact not the way to Rivet City, but here's where the whole I didn't play in like 2 years thing kicks me in the shins, by which I mean I was completely convinced that Rivet City was through the Metro Tunnels. For some reason, my brain kind of jumbled a bunch of parts of the main quest together. Case in point, I actually got lost in the Metro Tunnels for the first time since my first playthrough of Fallout 3. Eventually, I was able to figure out my error and was able to backtrack to a place I actually recognized, and at this point I figured I might as well go to GNR if I'm nearby. Finally, outside of Blighttown, I'm greeted by the Lion's Pride, and I just let them do all the work as usual. Definitely is a nice change of pace after the hell I went through in the Metro Tunnels. I did have to step in for Big Green because he was feeling a bit camera shy today, but that's nothing a few bullets won't fix. Now, Three Dog is actually an NPC with fairly high good karma, so as you can imagine, we have a special way of dealing with these kind. After this, I just fast traveled to Super Duper Mart and ran straight over to Rivet City. I of course did stop at the Jefferson Memorial and cleared the area of super mutants. Normally this helps me save time later after Smith Casey's garage, but unfortunately I ended up missing a mutant, that being the only centaur in the building for some reason, so I wound up having to go through it again anyways. At Rivet City, I take my frustrations out by pushing this old man so hard he dies, and then proceeding to enslave a random dude. Getting Flack was surprisingly difficult given that he's in a market full of people, and if any of those people see me mez him, they will get pissed. The good news is Moira actually gave me a few stealth boys earlier, so I was able to use those to camouflage enough to actually get Flack. Okay, with Paradise Falls quest wrapped up with a neat little bow, it's finally, and I do mean finally, time to get to the meat and potatoes of this run. I of course mean the main story. I am wasting no more time at this point, so I absolutely leg it to Smith Casey's garage, taking the south side so that I don't get beat up by too many robots. Inside Tranquility Lane, as you imagine, I play along with all of Dr. Brown's little games, and I enjoy them. Whether it be beating up this poor kid, breaking up a marriage, or quite literally murdering this woman, it's all the same to me, and I quickly burn through all of Dr. Braun's quests. He then lets me out of the simulation, which makes me sad because I liked it in there. Can't dwell on that too much, so it's back to the memorial. I clean up the aforementioned centaur, let everybody in, murder a few scientists with Mesmetron for fun, and lo and behold, people that actually have less evil karma than me show up. Colonel Sanders may think he's the biggest bad in the wasteland, but he was not prepared for when Liam Neeson used his signature attack Brain Blast on him and proceeded to splatter him and his soldiers all over the floor. I then proved that I'm the real biggest bad by phasing through reality and stealing his jacket. Now that Finger Looking Good has taken his leave for the next while, I'm free to go to Little Lamplight and by extension Murder Pass. At Little Lamplight, I blew Sticky's head off, as even old friends aren't safe from my wrath. I then did realize though that actually netted me no bad karma, so I reloaded and decided it would be more evil to drag Sticky along with me. As you can imagine, this would go brilliantly for him. At least he's safe for now, as no additional companions can follow you through Murder Pass. The mutants aren't too much trouble there. At this point, I'm using Colonel Autumn's pistol, and as well as a Chinese automatic rifle. The trick with the mutants is to always shoot that part they aim for. God, that's a nerdy one. 10 points to whoever gets that one. Like I was saying, the trick with the mutants is to aim for their center mass, which allows me to chain cripple their limbs with most weapons. The mutant slaughter continues all the way into Vault 87, and before long I'm actually at the Gek. Now here's where I shoot myself in the foot with my poor planning. I have purposely been staying pretty irradiated during this run, mainly because I don't like broken limbs and I have relatively low endurance, so by staying irradiated and using one of Moira's perks, I'm able to just prevent my limbs from breaking. The issue is, I actually ran out of radiation supplies. I feel like Fallout 3 in particular just doesn't give you enough healing or med supplies ever, so whenever you actually need something, it's just never there. Anyways, what this means for you guys is that I actually physically could not get the Gek. I tried everything, and I do mean everything to get it. Radix, running, even trying to phase through the walls, and I just couldn't get it. My radiation was too high, I would die within seconds of entering the chamber. So yes, this means what you think it does. I was originally gonna leave Fox to rot, as this nets you the most bad karma, but now I have to let him free, which nets me good karma, thus failing the run. What a stupid way to go out. Seriously, that was a really dumb mistake on my part. Obviously, I'm gonna see the video through, but still the run technically failed here. For those of you who are very upset by this, don't worry. I'm gonna get my comeuppance very, very soon. Fox does the slowest walk imaginable to go get the plot MacGuffin, he hands it over, and guess what? It's comeuppance time. I told you it was coming soon, and I meant soon. Here's the thing. I'm not just gonna let Fox walk away at this point. But for those of you who have played Fallout 3, you are probably gonna see a problem. You have no idea how long that took. I wound up having to switch to Fox's super sledge just because I realized that I would run out of bullets on all of my weapons before I actually managed to kill him. It's that bad. Now that the tankiest man in the wasteland is dead, the Enclave is free to abduct me, taking me straight to Raven Rock. At Raven Rock, I flex my bad karma muscles on them before getting roped into President Eden's scheme. Mind you, Raven Rock was a frightening experience given that at this point I was completely out of heals and on 1 HP. Surprisingly, what ended up saving me was the Shadow of the Earth Triatron, as using it would allow me to brainwash a random soldier, make him go berserk, attack a couple of his friends, which would make a perfect diversion for me to sneak away. That or the soldier would just instantly die. Either works for me, really. Luckily, after talking to Eden, he'll actually provide you with enough backup to take care of most of the Enclave soldiers, except for the ones outside. Since Fox is dead, I actually have no one to protect me from them, except wait, I actually came up with a failsafe. Combat Sticky is back and he absolutely ripped through the Enclave. Before I marched off to the memorial, I decided to get one last bit of good evil karma in, and I figured the best place would be Oasis. If you didn't know, the people of Oasis are struggling with a bit of a dilemma. Half of them want you to kill the sentient tree god they know, the other half want you to sprinkle some souped up fertilizer on his balls. Or of course, there's option C. I much prefer option C. Unfortunately, the people of Oasis actually caught me off guard with the sheer amount of damage they could do, and although I was able to get out unscathed, my boy wasn't so lucky. With that final distraction out of the way, it's time to make our way to, well, the final. As most of you probably know by now, the escort mission with Liberty Prime is an escort mission, except you are the escort. It is cool to watch the big robot murder the Enclave, but unfortunately I was doing that anyways, so it really wasn't that interesting. I decided to slow walk behind him for maximum dramatic effect, before shutting off my brain for the next 20 minutes of my life. Inside the memorial, I take care of the last bit of the Enclave because as always they are pushovers, and enter the room with Autumn. I debated a bit on how I was going to deal with Autumn, and I decided the best way would be to actually talk him down, and that's because, well, with Autumn still alive, I figured there'd be maybe a chance that he did something evil later, and it just hurts the wasteland a little bit more. Also, he happens to be a very fashionable individual, and I would hate to see that dying light be snuffed out in the wasteland. Unfortunately, Sarah absolutely ruins this for me, as she confidently adds that her and her people are going to hunt and kill him in a bit. God, I hate Sarah. With that, I insert the virus, battle the true villain of Fallout 3, that being the janky hitbox of the buttons in Project Purity, finishing the game, proving yes, you can beat Fallout 3 by making every evil decision. But I didn't. Yeah, this one still doesn't count. I messed up with the Gek. There's no way around that. It was a really stupid mistake, but still a mistake that cost me the run. Still, it was good fun, and genuinely, I'd like to see how this would play out in the other Fallout games. Sometimes it really is just a good time to be evil in these games. Regardless, that's all I have for you in today's video. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing. My name's Christian, but most people know me as aGhoul, and I'll see you in the next video.